I'm Daniel Madison, welcome back, thanks for being here. Thank you for choosing to spend some time with me. I want to give you a little bit of a heads up that this is a long video and it's a serious video. Everything that I'm talking about this comes from the heart. It is invaluable. I believe the information in this video is invaluable and important for anybody attempting to contribute to the world of playing cards. This is a long video. I stopped halfway through what I wanted to achieve because it's getting too long and I want to keep focus and I want to keep attention on this subject. So I've decided to make this into a two-part video. This first part, I'm talking about the process of creating a deck of playing cards. We're mainly focusing on the conception and how you get to the point where you're ready to actually design a deck of playing cards. So this is everything before you actually sit down and design. It's all valuable, and I've explained my reasons for sharing this publicly in the video itself. So I hope the right people get this message. I hope the right people are listening. I am Daniel Madison. Enjoy the Madison Show. I am Daniel Madison. Beauty is a beguiling call to death, and I'm addicted to the sweet pitch of its siren. How to design a deck of playing cards. Before we begin, I have to address why I believe I am qualified to give this advice, to give this guidance. I've had a 20-year career in the deceptive practices, specifically in the world of playing cards, sleight of hand with playing cards, the creation and the use of playing cards. My entire career is dedicated to playing cards, how to create them, and how to use them in interesting and evocative ways. I've done this for 20 years, and in that 20 years, I've created or been a part of the production of over 100 decks of playing cards. Of all those playing cards that I've worked on in the past 20 years, I would say 2% of those have been failures, the rest have been successes. Now, what do I see as a failure and a success? I'm talking about on paper, on record. 2% of what I've worked on has been failures in terms of sales, in terms of audience response. Does the audience like it or not? Do the playing cards sell? Do they do well? Now, that is the lowest way to judge the success of something on paper, but we have to do it because that's how most things are measured. In my mind, it's not. I see something beautiful, I see a deck of playing cards that I think is beautiful, therefore that deck is successful. The playing cards that I've worked on over the past 20 years have all come from the same place, and in that 20 years, my knowledge, intelligence, the process, the creative process, my creativity is all grown, developed and advanced quite dramatically simply because I've put my life into playing cards. So I believe I know what I'm talking about. And I don't want that to sound arrogant. I just want to make it clear right from the start why I believe that I know what I'm talking about, and why I believe that this advice and this guidance I'm about to give is quite sacred, quite important. So you might argue, you might ask, why then am I sharing it so freely in a video like this? I feel a huge weight on my shoulders, this huge responsibility. I'm such an integral part of the playing card world, the playing card community, not by choice necessarily, but by as a result to what I've chose to do with my life. I look around the playing card industry, the playing card community, and I see so many decks of playing cards that I'm unhappy with for different reasons. I see a lot of bad decisions, and instead of sitting back watching it and accepting it, I feel like I have this responsibility to now offer my help, my advice, to try and guide the entire industry and the entire community in the best possible direction. This doesn't mean I'm right, doesn't mean I'm wrong, but if I give my advice and I tell you the story of my success and why almost 100% of the playing cards I've released have been successful, then maybe the lessons and the messages in that story and the guidance and the advice that I can give will be helpful in the long run, not just for the individual but for the playing card world, the playing card community itself. It all begins with one simple question: why do you want a deck of playing cards? Let's look at the industry itself. Let's address the industry first. When I got into using playing cards and the whole world of playing cards, it was very much by accident. I looked around, I saw everybody using red bicycle rider backs, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the fact that everybody was just doing the same thing. I wanted to be a little bit different, so I got hold of some blue tally-ho playing cards, and as soon as I saw someone else using blue tally-ho playing cards, I changed them up. I wanted to be unique. I wanted to express myself in an original and unique way, and I knew that one day I would have to have a playing card, a deck of playing cards that would be unique to me, that would be mine. Whether or not other people around the world would be using them or not, or just me, it wasn't the point. It didn't really make a difference. I just wanted to own something that was unique to me, that was designed and created by me. I'm a creative. Everything that I do, I try to, it comes from a place of creation from myself. I use my own playing cards. I only perform my own sleight of hand and my own tricks, my own deceptions. It's a very specific thing for me, but maybe people out there are like me too. When I first got to know David Blaine, I was fascinated by the fact that he took playing cards and he changed the face of the King of Spades to his. That fascinated me, and it became a silly little ambition of mine. And I call it a silly little ambition because it's kind of meaningless, it's kind of pointless, it's cute at the most, but still it was something that I really wanted for myself. And also the arrogance, not the arrogance, but the confidence that you can instill in yourself by creating a king out of yourself was quite warming and quite useful for me at the time for the way I felt. It gave me a lot of confidence. So I took the King of Diamonds, and I chose the diamonds because King Daniel, that's so arrogant. Looking back at it, it feels arrogant, but I know it wasn't at the time. And also, in photographs of me and in films of me, I will always favor my left side. You'll always only see my left side, and that comes from a huge place of insecurity, which we spoke about yesterday, by the way, in a video, Insecurity. And by the way, I spoke to Sam Norman, my friend Sam, after that video, and the video that I put up called something to do with insecurity, it came from a very positive place, and I think the message maybe didn't quite reach a lot of people. The insecurity and getting into magic because of insecurity is actually a really positive and beautiful thing. I really do think it is, because magic is therapy, magic is helpful, magic heals us. The practice, the development, the performance, it's all therapeutic and healing. My challenge in the video that I was trying to address was the people who get into it because of insecurity but then don't allow it to heal them, they don't allow it to become therapy. They still carry those insecurities with them. That being said, let's get back. So the King of Diamonds, I always show the left side of my face more than the right side of my face. So the King of Diamonds was looking that way, so it was the perfect card for me. So I got my friend Jeff Leanza to draw me up, and he did that a long time ago, and I still use that same card to this day in all my playing cards. He drew me up as a king, and then all of a sudden this dream came true where my face was on a playing card, and then more dreams kept coming true after that I didn't even realize I had. Like that King of Diamonds then went into David Blaine's playing cards, and it's been in every deck of playing cards that I've created since the Madison Players back with Theory 11. From then, because I had my face on the King of Diamonds, and because I wanted my own deck of playing cards, I created a deck of playing cards selfishly just for myself, whilst at the same time discovering all these questions and discovering all these potential challenges with creating a deck of playing cards that's going to go out to the rest of the world. All these challenges come along, and that was the start of my learning curve, and I did it right from the start. I got it right. Now, unfortunately, I'm not in a position where I've got it wrong from the start, so I don't know what that feels like, but I'm certainly in a position to help people avoid that and get away from that. It all starts with that one question: what are you doing it for? Why do you want a deck of playing cards? Why do you want a deck of playing cards? The playing card industry now provides us, they make it so easy for any Tom, Dick, Harry or Daniel to have his own deck of playing cards. The minimum run, currently the minimum run if you want a deck of playing cards made is 200 decks. I'll get 200 decks made just for myself. It's really easy thing to do. So you can create a deck of playing cards just for yourself, have 200 decks of an amazing quality with no middlemen. No one telling you can't do this, you can't do that. You can do whatever you want. So it's become such an accessible creation, the whole process of creating and having a deck of playing cards. It is so easy, and I think that's when the problems started turning up. It used to be the minimum run was 2,500 decks, and not everybody can afford to do that, especially when it's the first deck. And to spend that much money on having a deck of playing cards that doesn't really have legs, it was kind of a guidance, almost like a government, almost like a system to stop people from putting out terrible decks of playing cards. It was quite useful, in fact. So now that playing cards are so accessible, we're seeing them turn up all over the place. All kinds of playing cards, most of which look like they were thrown together overnight and rush printed. And it's a problem, because we're allowing people who don't really care about playing cards, who aren't really passionate about playing cards or the playing card community, we're allowing them to contribute to the community. So when you create a deck of playing cards, you have to bear in mind you're carrying that weight on your shoulders, that you are contributing to an entire industry, an entire world. And are you bringing problems to that, or are you not bringing problems to that? And do we have to care? Do I have to care about that? And the answer for me is yes, I do, because I care about playing cards. And to look around my own industry and my own community and see something that I'm not proud of, I feel like I need to give some advice on that. Why are you doing it? You've got to ask yourself why you're doing it. And if the answers aren't correct, if the answers aren't right, if the answers aren't fitting or worthy for you, for your spirit, for the rest of the community, for the world, for your legacy, then it's going to be problematic. You have to be passionate. You have to have passion, passion, passion. We are creatives. If you're not a creative, don't create a deck of playing cards. If you want a deck of playing cards just to be like everybody else, go for it. Make it happen. Bear in mind, you're contributing. And you might be a problem. You might be a problem. Let's start from the beginning. Ideas. Everybody has to have ideas. Everybody wants a deck of playing cards. And then the more we see other people having playing cards, it makes us more and more, oh, how come everyone's got one and I'm the last one? How come I don't have one yet? I could go on about all these problems. I'm trying not to. Starts with ideas. We are creative people, and the biggest idea, the most valuable idea right from the start, to ask yourself, could I use this deck of playing cards every day for the rest of my life? And if the answer is no, then you shouldn't do it. Every deck of playing cards I've worked on is a deck of playing cards that I would be proud to use every day of my life for the rest of my life. Every single day. And if you feel any negativity towards that when you're creating, when you're in the creative process, it means something's wrong. It means something's wrong. You have to be tough on yourself during this creative process, and you have to be brutal. Why should this deck exist? Why should it exist? Why should it exist? Because you want it to. Again, it's the wrong answers are coming to the right questions. Why should this deck of playing cards exist? You have to ask yourself, and you have to be brutally honest. Now, for me, the most important thing to think about at this early stage when you're creating ideas is, if you're creating a deck of playing cards that doesn't stand for something or has no meaning, then stop right now and don't go any further. Playing cards are forever. They're in your hands, they're in your hands. They become a part of you. My playing cards are an extension of my fingers, and they come from my heart. They are created from my heart. I put my heart, my soul, my entire life goes into playing cards. I've dedicated my life to it. So I know they've got meaning, that they mean something. So it's easy for me to recognize and identify when people don't do that. I'm not saying you necessarily have to do this. I'm saying this is how I do it, and this is why I believe I'm successful with playing cards when I release playing cards. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. This deck of playing cards, any deck of playing cards that I've worked on, blood, sweat, tears go into it, and they have to. If they don't, then it's meaningless. Now, people can see and they can feel how meaningful my playing cards are because they know me. I'm assuming most people watching this will know me or know something about me or know and feel throughout my history, throughout everything I've done, how passionate I am about playing cards. They have to be meaningful. They have to come from such a meaningful place. Now, we start to introduce this idea of metamodernism at this point. And metamodernism is basically, it's the idea of saying something meaningful in a meaningless way, or saying something meaningless in a meaningful way. So playing cards, as heavy as the responsibility is when you're designing a deck of playing cards, you can still have a lot of fun and keep the meaning. There's so many decks of playing cards out there that are fun, that are pink. Look at that kittens deck. Look at the ice cream deck. I'm talking about meaning, and it's all taken so seriously, and it is so seriously, but at the same time, you can have a really fun deck of playing cards that is really meaningful, and it's come from the heart. You can always tell when it's come from the heart. So if we introduce that idea too, then we don't have to be so strict with ourselves. As long as we're being true to our creative selves, we don't have to be strict. Now, there are no limits, despite what this is all going to feel like. And it sounds like I'm kind of caging in and narrowing out all these rules in. There really are no limits as long as it comes from the heart, as long as it comes from a meaningful and powerful place. Now, to do that in these early stages of creativity, to create something beautiful and meaningful, you have to evoke your creative soul. You have to bring your creative soul out. You have to bring it to life. You have to dance, you have to sing, you have to express yourself in as many possible ways as you can. Play music, create music, write poetry and recite poetry, draw, write, do anything creative, anything and everything creative. Create a creative life out of yourself. Dedicate yourself to a creative process, a creative life. When you give yourself no choice but to be creative, when you live 100% creative life, then all of a sudden creating something meaningful becomes very easy, because it naturally comes from here, it naturally comes from inside of you. It just bleeds out of you when you start living like that, when you allow yourself to live like that. And to do that, you have to be fearless. Now, becoming fearless might sound difficult, and it is in a way, but then you realize once you start doing it, when you have this confidence, when you find confidence is when you realize that confidence doesn't even exist. It's all kind of pretend, it doesn't exist. That's when it comes to you, and it's the same thing with this creative process of being a creative soul. The fearlessness, all of a sudden you realize, oh man, I'm actually fearless, because here I am dancing and reading poetry and writing music and drawing pictures and, being this creative person, and all the inhibitions start to cave in on themselves. You can't have inhibitions. That's a huge thing as well. You have to get rid of them. And being a creative soul is a fast and sure way around that. You have to be inspired. You have to be inspired. As a creative person, you have to allow yourself to be inspired. Now, to do this means that you have to open yourself up and stop being negative. If you're a negative person, none of this is going to work. This creative process is not going to work. Allow yourself to be inspired. I look, I read. I read so many books. A lot of them I don't even like, but I'm constantly searching for little moments of inspiration. I watch so many films and so much TV that's all terrible, in hope that something good's going to come out of it, and I'm going to find something good. And then when you put yourself out there and you allow yourself to take things in that maybe you wouldn't necessarily do, maybe you're not into poetry, maybe you're not into writing or hearing poetry, get into it. Just get into it, even if you don't like it, because you might find a spark, you might find something goes, and all of a sudden you're inspired. And you wouldn't have been if you didn't open yourself up, if you didn't expose yourself to all these creative processes and creative arts. Let them in. Let creativity in. Let yourself be inspired. You have to drop your guard to be inspired. And yes, believe it or not, this is still on the subject of creating a deck of playing cards. This is how serious it is. You can't just create a deck of playing cards. You can't just create a deck of playing cards. You have to be positive. Get rid of all negativity. Negativity will cage you. If you're negative towards other people, you're going to be negative towards yourself without really even knowing it. You're going to invite negativity in. Learn to block it out, or at least learn to take it in and deal with it in a way that doesn't affect you, which also is difficult and also a huge subject for maybe a different time. If you're a negative person, this is not going to work. Respect other people's playing cards. Respect other people's playing cards. It's difficult to do. It's difficult because the playing card industry, the playing card community is full of terrible playing cards. But even in the terrible playing cards, get hold of them, study, learn about them, learn across the board what works, what doesn't, what's interesting, what isn't, what's beautiful, what isn't, what works, what doesn't, what sells, what doesn't. That's important because it tells you what the audience want, which is also a huge part of this process that we'll get to in a few minutes, what the audience wants versus what you want. But study, pick up everybody's playing cards. Pick up everybody's playing, and even if you don't, go to the website, look at every image you can about those playing cards, about those people's playing cards, because there might be a tiny little thing that you find in somebody's playing cards that you weren't expecting to inspire you, and you'll think, oh, I want that in my deck. I want something like that in my deck of playing cards. Just like the King of Diamonds from David Blaine. I was inspired by him. That came from him. He was the first person to do it. Allow yourself to be inspired by other people's playing cards. It's difficult to do, especially with all the bad playing cards out there. But there are good ones. There are some fantastic ones. And look for the ones that take you by surprise. The ones that do well and you're not sure why they did well. Something about them that you don't understand made that deck of playing cards do well. I remember Bill Kalush once saying to me he was always surprised with the playing cards that he loves and he thinks are going to do well are the ones that don't do too well, and the ones that he's against, they do really well. Or at least that was a few years ago, and that was the learning experience for him. But he allowed himself into that learning process to discover what it is that his audience wanted. It's a huge part of the process, what people want. But right now we're going to focus on you, because you're the one creating a deck of playing cards. It's about you. This deck of playing cards is me. It's a part of me. So that's how important it is. You're not just creating pieces of paper. You're not just creating pieces of card. You're giving the world a piece of your soul. So it has to be something that represents your soul in that powerful and meaningful way. Write down and draw, jot, doodle, write down every single idea that you get. Put it on paper. Write it down, draw it, a little sketch. People say, oh, but I can't draw. I can't draw. It's no excuse. I can't draw now because I learned, but it's no excuse. There are no excuses. Even the tiniest doodles. I've seen beautiful playing cards come to exist because of a little scribble. Because of scribble. It started with a scribble. If you don't write these ideas down, if you don't get them all down, there's no way of brainstorming or narrowing down to find the perfect answer. Everything has to go down on paper. Everything that you write down, 90% of it will be terrible. It will be a waste of time. It will feel like a waste of time. It will not be a waste of time. It will be valuable and useful, because without that 90% of awfulness, you wouldn't have the 10% of gold. You're not going to find that gold unless you get it all out. It's like that saying, if you throw a swear word at the wall, some of it will stick. It's the same thing with the creative process. You have to get it all down to find the gems. My book Devilry was 700 pages long. I'm happy with about maybe 5 pages in there. But that whole creative process, and by the way, they were good enough. You know, they were good enough to be a part of my legacy. I'm proud of every single one of them, every single one of those ideas. But the 5 pages in there that stand out to me, they wouldn't exist without the rest of the pages. You have to get all your bad, thank you Charlie, you have to get all your bad ideas down to find the good ideas. You have to write and jot everything down, and then one day you'll look back and it'll all make sense. Also, you'll have an amazing idea and then you'll forget about it because you didn't write it down. Go to sleep with a notepad by your side, wake up with it there, because when you fall asleep all your inhibitions drop and these ideas start coming to you. Same thing when you wake up. You might wake up with an incredible idea that you'll forget in 10 minutes, so make sure it's all drawn and written down. Then later on you might be inspired and think, hold on a second, I had this idea, look at my notebook, wow, look at this, I need to do something with this. You never know where it's going to come from, but you need a record, you need it on record, because you're going to have so many ideas that you will not have the capacity to remember every single idea. It has to be written down. You go to sleep with that notebook by your side. You have to dream. You have to dream. And I mean dream when you're asleep. Daydream too, by all means. Dream when you're asleep. The amount of dreams that I've had that have resulted in a deck of cards or a trick or something creative that's been successful, the amount of dreams that have led to that are incredible. Now, we'll talk about dreams at a different time. I don't want to get into it too deep right now, but dreams are so important. They're so important. That notepad, when you wake up, you will forget your dreams. Wake up, write them down. You'll see things in your dreams that are given to you from somewhere else. You have to write them down before you forget them. Allow yourself to dream. You have to brainstorm all these ideas. All these ideas, don't just have one idea, have hundreds and hundreds. My Charlie logos, there's so many different variations of the Charlie logos. I've shared some of them with the Alliance, with my fellow Alliance members, and I will share some more. There's so many until I found the right ones, the ones that felt like they had a direct connection with my heart, that came from my heart. But all those other 100 that you won't ever see, they exist, and they have to exist to find the right one. For me to connect and find with the right one, you can't just have one idea and then that becomes the idea. You have to have so many. The more the better. You want to crowd yourself with ideas so the good ones can identify themselves for you against the bad ones. The comparison becomes so visual that it makes that creative process really rewarding, but also really not easy. Easy is the wrong word, but it makes it, I guess easy is the right word. It makes it feel like an easier, more enjoyable process because you can see all this creativity in front of you. Whereas if you've just got one idea, then you're not really giving yourself much option and you're opening yourself up for failure. You have to brainstorm with trust too. You have to trust your instincts. You've got feelings when you've got an idea in front of you. You've got to trust yourself. And trust is a huge part of it, and trusting yourself is another big subject that's going to take a lot of talking. When you've got all these ideas, all these hundreds of ideas that could become playing cards, you have to be brutal when it gets down to that narrowing down process. When you narrow them down to try and find the right designs and the right ideas, you have to be brutal. You're gonna have to lose ideas that maybe you're passionate about, and that's gonna come from decisions that happen up here and in here, but also externally. I've put myself in a position where there are very few people that I'll reach out to with my design ideas. Very few people that I trust to give me honest and brutal feedback, and I have to trust that. I have to understand why people might not be happy, or why people might not understand, or what people think about my process and what I've done. Having feedback from the right people is invaluable. The struggle and the challenge with that is finding those right people and deciding who to give your trust to, which I can't talk about that to you personally. Maybe I can if we talk through the Alliance. But yeah, you're gonna have to find your own level of trust and finding that right person to trust. But you have to be brutal. More importantly, you have to be honest. You have to be realistic with yourself. And that's hard to do for a lot of people. It's hard to do for a lot of people. You have to remember that this idea that's going to become a deck of playing cards, it is going to become a deck of playing cards. So you have to be 100%. You have to be happy. You have to be happy with it. When you find your idea, when you find that design, you have to fall in love with it. You have to fall in love with it. This takes time. This can't happen overnight. There's no love at first sight here. My friend Saint, when he's decided on a tattoo, he'll save it as his wallpaper on his phone so that he looks at it every day. And then if he's still happy with it after a year, he'll get a tattoo. Everybody's got their own little processes, their own little ways of doing this, ways of sitting with an idea, but nothing happens overnight. You cannot rush something this important. I think that's a huge contribution to the negative and to the terrible designs that we see. I think that they've been rushed, and I think that's the number one problem. I think that's the biggest contribution as to why there are so many bad playing cards out there, because they've been rushed. Sleep on it. Sleep on it. Get an idea and sit with it for a long time. For years I've sat with ideas for years. That's what it takes. That's what it takes, because this is something that's forever. This is something that's forever. So it has to be 100% right. You have to be proud of it every single day that it exists, which is forever. If you don't sleep on it, then you can fail, then you probably will fail. You might come back to the idea after sleeping on it a few weeks later and you find yourself falling out of love with it. And that's a terrible thing. But it's very necessary. Failure is vital. And I mean failing correctly. Fail forward. Don't fail by putting a deck of playing cards out that you're not 100% with. If you're not 100% with the idea, then you have to fail and go back to the drawing board. I've done that so many times, and I'm proud of those decisions. I'm proud of it. You have to be that honest, and you have to be that harsh with yourself. Time is the biggest factor, I think, for a lot of people. Like people don't want to wait. They want it here, they want it now, they want it yesterday. The patience, the tolerance, it will all be worth it if you're doing it right. It will all be worth it. Fail forward, fail in the right direction. You have to fail. If you are ignorant to failure, then you are a failure. When it gets to the design, once you've got these ideas and they're ready to be designed, there are so many different avenues and so many different things and so many different ways of approaching it and getting a design made. Maybe you can do it yourself, maybe you're a designer, maybe you need somebody else to get involved to help you do it. But the design process is a whole different issue, a whole different story, and I don't want to keep talking about this subject beyond this point because I've already taken so long, and this is definitely 100% going to be a 2-part or maybe a 3-part process of giving these messages. Right now we haven't even got to getting your ideas designed. I just hope that the passion comes through, and I hope that people can recognize and relate to and understand and accept that you have to be this passionate for a good deck of playing cards to exist, to have come from your heart, to have come from a very special place here and here. It can't just happen like that. So I'm going to stop this video here, and we're going to come back to it. We have to come back to it. We have to keep focus. The next stage, we're going to talk about the actual design process, getting your ideas and your thoughts down on paper to be prepared to go onto a deck of playing cards. This is a 2-part video. Join me in part 2. I'm Daniel Madison. If you're still here, if you're still with me, thanks, because this was a long video of me just talking, and I appreciate anybody who's going to listen to this, because it is important. I believe it's important, and this information and this advice, this guidance, I don't just give it up willy-nilly. It just doesn't just go to anybody and everybody. Although it's out here on YouTube, I'm trying to fulfill this responsibility and contribute positively to the playing card industry, to hopefully help steer the direction, to steer people in the right direction, which is from a place that exists in your spirit, in your soul, in your heart. If you're playing cards, if anything you create doesn't come from your heart, fucking get out of here. You know where the door is. You're not welcome. You're not contributing to an entire art form. You're making it worse. You are contributing. You're contributing in a very negative way. And I hope that this is taken seriously, what I'm saying. And I hope the right people are listening. I really hope they are. I'll be back soon, part 2. I'm Daniel Madison. See you next time.